What's up, everyone? It's Mekel Kasanova, Hawaii's favorite YouTuber and host of the #1 podcast in the state of Hawaii, the Kasanova Podcast. I'm back to do another review, and today's review is going to be for the game that, a lot of people have been wondering about, and I know I'm kind of late to putting a review out for this game because, embargo lifted a couple weeks ago, but I still love it and I want to get my review out, and hey, I'm here to do it. And so we're going to be talking about Fist of the North Star Lost Paradise. Now, this is made by Ryogagatoku Studios. Now, if you're familiar with them, they make the Yakuza series. So from Yakuza 1 all the way up to the current one, as well as a lot of spin-off and offshoot titles. Now, the question you're probably wondering, if you haven't watched other videos or if you haven't played this game already, is this game any good? Is it, for the first time, the best and probably the only good Fist of the North Star game? Or is it another dud like Koei Tecmo's, Ken's Rage 1 and 2, or any of the other Fist of the North Star games that were just simply atrocious? You're going to find out in this video if this game is worth your money, if it's Kasanova approved, or if this is a pass. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into this video. Fist of the North Star is well over 30 years old now, and in Lost Paradise we have an alternate take on the events following the battle between Shin and Kenshiro. Kenshiro emerges victorious in his battle with his former best friend Shin. However, he finds that Yuria, his love and fiancee, is nowhere to be found, and so he sets off into the wasteland to, honestly, in hopes of finding her. Fist of the North Star Lost Paradise takes the core story from the beginning of the series and simply adds a new detour. Kenshiro still needs to find Yuria, following her attempted suicide to escape Shin, which leads him to the mysterious city of Eden. Honestly, you can watch the anime and or movie up to the fight with Shin and stop there and start this game. One of the issues with manga and anime video games is finding a way to make them work for everyone. And see, this is the area where Fist of the North Star has always had a bit of an issue with, as many of the characters are just too powerful, and despite many attempts from Dynasty Warriors maker Koei Tecmo in the Ken's Rage subseries, it never translated well. Fist of the North Star Lost Paradise was announced, and it was revealed that the Yakuza team, Ryogagatoku Studios, was behind it. And if I have to say that I was very excited, then honestly, I was very, very excited. I mean, who else could take control of this franchise and turn it around other than them? I mean, look at how they've made Yakuza just a knockout. But is this an adventure the fans need to experience, or is it just another failed attempt of a game that uses Fist of the North Star as its hook? Now, you'll get more out of Fist of the North Star Lost Paradise if you're familiar with the manga it's based on. Prior knowledge is not necessary, however, to enjoy it. All you need to know is that your character is Kenshiro. He's a practitioner of a martial art known as Hokuto Shinken. He knows which vital points to strike on the human body to cause all manner of effects, and although his favorite ones are the ones which make his opponents explode. Characters in this game are just as animated and excitable as you'd expect in cutscenes, and Sega have gone to the effort of including a full English voiceover, which I think is phenomenal. Something that even the recent Yakuza games, well, actually no Yakuza games since the first one back in 2006, has even been treated to. Now, music runs the gamut from heavy metal to pounding electronica and everything in between. And it really shines when it's intentionally completely inappropriate for whatever scene it's supporting. And all this is one of the best video game representations of an existing anime universe in recent memory. Another testament to the ability of the studio to adapt the property to their own unique style. Now, if it seems like a lot of comparisons are being drawn between this game and Yakuza, it's because this is just as much a spin-off of that series as it is Fist of the North Star. Kenshiro shares a lot of similarities to Kiryu Kazuma. Lost Paradise not only cribs story beats and themes from Yakuza, but it also has its overall structure to be virtually identical. the most part, most of the game, Ken will run around a small city area, conversing with its denizens and completing favors and beating up gangs and thugs that he passes on the streets, just as you would if you were Kiryu in the world of Kamurocho in Yakuza. He'll gain experience to unlock new combat abilities and equip accessories to boost his stats just like Yakuza. And yes, Ken will engage in all manner of outlandish and surprisingly deep mini-games that are completely at odds with the tone of the story, just like Yakuza. Honestly, the game comes pretty close to inviting the notion that it's simply a reskin of a modern Yakuza game. But that's really the beauty of it. Yakuza fans are already accustomed to the familiarity between games, giving them a comfortable in to a completely different universe, while those in it for the Fist of the North Star stuff can rest assured that this huge new game is built on an entirely and already proven, solid and time-tested foundation. Kenshiro approaches every situation with a small handful of combos, and that can be used to defeat foes. Doesn't matter if you punch or kick, just be prepared to dodge and block when applicable. Combat in Lost Paradise uses the same basic control scheme as Yakuza, as well as the same physics as Yakuza 6 and Kiwami 2, but it plays out differently due to Kenshiro's mastery of Hokuto Shinken style of martial arts, which is an ancient and deadly art. Hokuto Shinken allows Ken, as I stated earlier, to target specific pressure points on the bodies of his enemies and attack them with enough precision and power that their bodies literally explode from the inside out. Now, exploiting this phenomenon in combat means attacking enemies with basic combos until they're put in a stun state and then executing a butting prompt, which is often circle, in order to finish them off in a very gory display of swollen, bursting body parts. Nuance comes from discovering and executing the many different types of these finishers, triggered by either leading them with specific melee combos or by contextual triggers like activating them near walls or in groups. And all in all, it's a neat system that rewards considered effort with a greater variety of gore porn, with the only downside being that button mashers like myself will inevitably end up seeing the same 2 or 3 finishing animations repeatedly ad nauseum. Another even greater and bigger departure from the template on which Lost Paradise is built is in the greater open world. Outside the city of Eden, Ken, unlike his Yakuza counterpart Kiryu, can freely traverse the space between the various locations in which the story is set, which in this case comprises of mostly barren desert wasteland. Doing so requires use of an all-terrain buggy restored from the scrap of vehicle's past, which Kenshiro can upgrade and customize before taking out on the open road. This is where Fist of the North Star feels most like the Mad Max films the original manga is basically a ripoff from, with leather-bound bandits roaming the sand-covered wastes looking for precious resources in their Frankensteinian-style cars and trucks. Now, here we are with the issues. I'm going to go ahead and go into these because I've noticed that not many have pointed this out, but more problematic to Fist of the North Star Lost Paradise's combat is its very poor lock-on system, which is fiddly and slows down your movement to a crawl at times. Also, there's the issues with the game's camera, which often works against you, allowing for off-screen enemies to get in cheap hits. Both would be more of a problem if the game was challenging in any way, but most encounters are an absolute walkover. I mean, come on, you're Kenshiro. What challenge is there for Ken? The poor handling of the vehicle clunkiness, of which the game's camera and Kenshiro's movement also suffer from. So now, the Ryogaga Toku team, they really outdid themselves with Lost Paradise. And this is not only a damn good game, it's a very good looking game in and of itself. But also, this is the best Fist of the North Star entry we've ever had, hands down. While the camera and lock-on system are at times annoying, the overall package is perfectly executed, and I'm hoping that Sega continues to keep making Fist of the North Star games, and hopefully even do a co-op Double Dragon game in a similar vein. Well, you know, one can hope, right? I mean, if we're getting if we're getting Streets of Rage, I mean, we could definitely bring back Double Dragon in the way it should be, right? So the voice acting is solid, and Robbie Daymond truly did an amazing job of making Ken sound like the true badass that he is. Lost Paradise gives you everything you could want out of a full price game. Solid story, satisfying combat, great voice acting, great music and OST, and no need to purchase any DLC unless you want the Kiryu Kazuma skin and dynamic wallpaper. All in all, Fist of the North Star Lost Paradise is Kasanova approved. Alright, with that being said, I want to thank you guys for sticking through the video. Shout out to Sega for making, in my opinion, the hands down best Fist of the North Star game that is available. This game is phenomenal. I love it. It's the best Fist of the North Star game. Well, which is kind of funny to say because there's always been Fist of the North Star games over the last 30-something years, but there's not been any that have quite reached the accolades that this has. I mean, Koei Tecmo was close with their Ken's Rage 1 and 2. Graphically, it looked the part. Story, it played the part, but gameplay, I mean, Fist of the North Star is not a game you want to put within a Dynasty Warriors-esque type game. That's something that I've never really been a fan of is, you know, with so many anime style games that Koei Tecmo gets, is they'd like to put them in the Dynasty Warriors style setting. Not everything needs to be done that way. Berserk is another game that did not need to be done that way. It should have been done the Dark Souls style, or even, hell, let Sega take the reins for Berserk, because they took the reins for Fist of the North Star, and Ryoga Toku Studios just knocked it out of the park with it. So with that being said, this is Kasanova approved. Go out and buy it. And if you're wondering why I have a different case or cover art for mine as opposed to what's on store, it's because if you flip it over, this is the one that you normally get. This is the alternate art. I prefer the alternate art as opposed to the standard art that comes with the game. I'm just a stickler for the old manga and art style. With that being said, why don't you guys tell me what you think down in the comment section below. If you like this video and you want to see more like it, please make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe. If you want to support the channel also, check us out on Patreon. Link is down in the description below. And you can also sponsor the channel if you want. We always have live streams every so often. And if you just want to be part of the if you want to help build the brand more, definitely share it around. And that's up to you. Make sure you do check us out on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play Music, Spotify, as well as TuneIn Radio for our Kasanova podcast, which is the #1 podcast in the state of Hawaii. Interviews, you know, just covering just about anything from interviewing voice actors to other YouTubers and content creators. It's an amazing show. It's the #1 in Hawaii. Make sure you check it out. That being said, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Deuces wild, too sweet, be the elite. And no, you're not already dead. I'm not going to steal Ken's line, but I'll catch you in the next one.